Hello, how's it going, everyone? So this video, I'm going to talk about why takeout is trending compared to restaurants. I will also discuss some of the risks of the takeout and how takeout might not be the best option for you. So I was perusing Google Trends like I do, and I saw an interesting trend there. People weren't searching for restaurants, but once the virus came around, people weren't searching for restaurants as nearly as much, and then the search for takeouts jumped. So it's kind of like an X. One went down, one went up, and I thought this was a really interesting thing. So I'm assuming the reasoning behind this trend is that people are thinking that if they can't get food from restaurants, then it's better to get food from takeout and I guess takeout delivery apps like Grubhub. And I guess there is some truth behind it. Like if you are going to a restaurant, you're going to have to sit down, you're going to have to touch the table, you're going to have to lick the table, and that will of course get you a virus if someone sat in that place before. So that's pretty valid. But let's look at the other option of, I guess, takeout. And someone will have to have made that food, and then you're going to have to touch the bag, which I guess they touched because they prepared the food for you, unless they're a robot, in which case sign me up for that place. I want to go to robot food making. I think McDonald's might be doing that eventually. But anyways, the idea is that takeout will give you better odds of not getting the virus, which is probably true. It will give you probably slightly better odds. I don't know what the numbers are, but it still exists for getting the virus, rather than just like eating at home, where I guess that's going to be a 0% chance, unless the food itself is infected, and that's when we would have very bad things happening. So if you had to choose one, I guess takeout would be better than going to a restaurant. So also many takeout like apps like Grubhub, like I mentioned, and there's millions of them, maybe not millions, but there's a lot. They have free delivery deals during this because of course you're going to get lower deals they're going to get lower amounts of delivery, and that's their income, of course, during this period. So they'll get everyone hooked on the free deliveries right now, so that after this whole thing's over, they're going to want free deliveries now. And this is fair warning. This is just to get you hooked on these delivery apps right now. So just keep that in your mind when everyone offers these free things. They always want something from you. Okay, now I want to go into the potential risks of takeout and these food delivery apps. Getting food delivered to your door from wherever they prepared it, like a Chipotle or a Applebee's. I don't know. Whoever gets takeout. All right, before I go into that though, I wanted to show you where I got this information from. So if you go to Google Trends, you can look up this information. I'll link this as well in the description. You'll see the interest over time was pretty low all across. This is for takeout. It's pretty low until March 1st, it looks like. What happens there? What happens March 3rd, or March 8th, really? That's when it really started to blow up, the interest in takeouts. And you might be thinking, well, the coronavirus has started like December last year. That's when like the first case in Wuhan. That's when the Wuhan fluhan came about. But it took like a couple months. This is also in the United States. So it took like a couple months, and then it blew up with takeout here. And the second case, what I want to talk about with the restaurants. The searching for restaurants also started to fall around February 9th. So around the same time, maybe a couple weeks off in difference. But it really started to fall like March 1st, which was March 8th, which is where the big jump started in takeout. So of course, people need to get their food. And for the people that can't cook, which is many people, they're going to, instead of going to restaurants, they're going to go to takeout. And this is where this decline comes from. However, don't believe everything you heard on the internet, because this is the same curve that we saw before with takeout in the background. And you'll notice though that this is so it's different things. So the restaurant was the topic, takeout was a search term. I guess they are somewhat related. It's just the searches for restaurants went down, or the interest technically, which is relative to the highest point of the chart, I guess. So in this case, the interest in takeout was much, much less. So take that with a grain of salt. All right, anyways, so back to the risks. So the first risk that you can face when taking takeout or food delivery is the people making the food. Or actually, even before this, risk zero is the people preparing the food for the people that will be making food. If they're sick and if they're somehow touching the food, which I feel like most of that is done in factories at this point to get it done out to all the restaurants, then of course that could be a big factor. But so that's kind of risk zero, I want to say. The real risk is the people, or I guess the real first risk is the people making the food, since they're in the proximity of it and they're the closest to it when it's made. So you can never really trust that a person will follow the restaurant's like kind of rules and regulations for proper hand washing, using gloves, and then like if they're sick, don't come to work. These might sound like common sense things, but a lot of times they don't really care. They just want to get money. And it makes sense because oftentimes these, I guess, preparers of food don't make nearly as much as like the nation's average. So also, if it makes it difficult as well to tell if the food is, I guess, prepared safely or not, because the virus, COVID-19, you can't really tell if, I guess, someone has it until like at least 5 days, sometimes as many as 14 days. They could have the virus for 14 days or something like that, and they won't even know until that 5 to 14 days where you can get symptoms. And by this time, it'll be too late, and they'll have likely already made hundreds of meals, maybe thousands of meals, and spread it to that many people. And this is where the exponential piece comes in. And this is why people are closing non-essential, I guess, places. And which begs the question, are these places essential? Yes, they do give food out, and food is essential. But is it really essential if it causes this many infections? So some more things that I guess these food preparers can do is they might not use soap when they're washing their hands, which once again, like, might seem obvious. Why aren't you using soap? And some people just don't even look at the news. They don't even know the coronavirus is around, which I guess might be surprising to some people, but it does happen out there. So they might not wash their hands thoroughly. They might just like put some soap on it and then call it a day. There's plenty of spaces on your hands you can miss, and then they might touch their face, and then that's how it'll get out there. Maybe right after they wash their hands, they touch their face. It's very difficult to fully secure it if you do have the virus. And they might not even use gloves if they're like making a dish. They might not even use gloves for some reason because they don't care. You can't really trust someone like that unless you know the person who's making the food and you know they're not going to make a mistake. And you don't know the person. You're just getting takeout from there. So another thing that might happen is the food preparer might sneeze or cough at any time. And this could cause like unseen bacteria to, even if they cover their nose, some bacteria will likely leak out. Because like, if you've seen like a sneeze in slow motion, it happens very quickly. And like even if you cough in your elbow, like some of that will leak out onto your food. And that is definitely a risk. All right, the second risk I want to talk about in this food delivery process is the people who take the food from the people who like prepare it and get it ready to the people who either give it to you with takeouts or they give it to the people who are going to deliver it. So what I'm thinking of is the people that put the food in like the bag for the person to pick up. So like I'm just imagining Chipotle right now because I like Chipotle, unfortunately, and I can't go. But I'm imagining Chipotle, like they're the people that have this tray of food and then they put it in the bag and they're of course touching their food. And oftentimes these people aren't required to use gloves to handle this food because they're not actually touching the food. They're just touching the container for the food. And why would they wear gloves for that? And it's not required because you're not touching the food, so it makes sense. But even if they were to wear gloves, all they have to do is cough or sneeze somewhere at some point in time near the gloves, and the gloves will be infected. So gloves aren't the cure to everything here. So this is why people who are sick shouldn't in the service industry shouldn't be, I guess, going to work. But the sad thing is, many of these service industry workers, I guess, it's not tolerated for them if they call in sick multiple times. They'll often get let go or fired, which of course fears them. So they'll just try to tough it out and go to work. All right, the third and final risk I want to talk about is for the food delivery people who get food delivered. And that is the delivery person, maybe like Uber Eats, Grubhub. I don't know any others, honestly, off the top of my head. But they are going to take the food from like the register because they ordered it or they're getting paid to do this. And they could be sick themselves, or yeah, they could be sick. So they're gonna also rarely wear gloves, because why would they wear gloves? They're just handing a bag to you. But that bag you're going to touch, and then you're going to touch your face. And even if you like wash your hands after you like handle it, you're still going to be eating. And it's very difficult to like extract the food from the thing while being completely sanitized. So the food deliverer might also go from touching their face to the food bag to deliver to you, and that's how it could happen. So they could also cough or sneeze on the food. I mean, they have to drive for the food for like 15 minutes to 30 minutes or so. And they could also potentially cough or sneeze on you, which I guess would be really rude. Like, why would someone cough on you? But it will happen sometimes. So the second you touch that food bag or the food like tray that someone has coughed or sneezed on or has handled with this virus, you're going to be sick, and there's a virus on it. So you're going to eventually like eat your food or touch your eye. It can go through your eye, your nose, your mouth, and you're going to get the virus. So one potential way to make this safer, I guess, is to spray the whole bag down with some kind of like Lysol hand sanitizer, something to kill the thing. That'll potentially make it safer, and just like let it sit there for a bit. Or like, you don't want to wait too long because it's probably going to be warm food, and it's unsafe to eat like cold like chicken, you know. And yeah, this will not make it 100% safe, but it will kind of make it safer to spraying the bag down. And it's going to be difficult because half the time these bags and trays and whatnot have many crevices, and this makes it hard for them to get all the bacteria out. So at the end of the day, you might be saying to yourself, oh, I'm young, I can survive the virus, I just need my takeout. I'll reduce my chance by getting takeout instead of going to restaurants, because I go to restaurants every day. I mean, I'm just saying this, I don't actually go to restaurants. But so I also would like to say that you're not the only person in the world. So many of the elderly will not survive the virus, even though you are young. If you are, you might spread it, or you might survive it, but you're going to spread it more. And the best way to stop this entirely is just to be quarantined and to not let it spread on. Anyways, that's this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Peace.